Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Anna, and prepare yourselves to hear, the shortest November wrap-up that I'm ever going to make in my entire life, because I literally only read one book in November. I know. I really tried to read more books, but I just did not have the time, which is weird because when I was working on my thesis, it felt like I had more time, which is always so strange. And now that I do have more time because I've submitted my thesis, I am preparing, of course, the presentation because I do have to, present my thesis and defend it, which it's terrifying, by the way. So I am doing that, but it still doesn't take me, as long as writing it because, of course, when I am practicing, I already know what I wrote, so it's easier. So I really don't know why. I just did not have the time. And I think, because the only book that I finished was A Dance with Dragons by George R. R. Martin, and that's why I think I only read one book this month, which is okay. It's fine. This happens, but I'm not really going to talk too much about this because I do have a reading vlog dedicated to A Dance with Dragons that I hope is coming out next week, so please stay tuned. And I love this, okay? I gave it a 4.5 stars. I love this, and now I can understand why people are so mad that George R. R. Martin still hasn't continued with this story, because I need it, okay? I need the story. I need this narrative to continue. I know there are more books inside this world, but I need this specific story, okay? This specific narrative to continue, because I need to know what is going to happen with these characters, because Daenerys didn't even reach Westeros. Like, what do you mean? And that's why I give this a 4.5 stars, because I am a little bit tired. I think that George R. R. Martin is dragging the story too much, in my opinion. I think Daenerys should have been in Westeros by now. This is just my opinion. And even other plot lines, for example, Brienne trying to find Sansa or Arya, it's just taking too long. It's taking too long. He's dragging everything out, and I don't really understand why. It's just feeling a little bit slow. In the beginning, I didn't mind. We are getting to know the world a little bit better, the characters, the plot lines, the story, the politics. Everything does take time to brew, but I think this time it really is taking way too much time, and I think George R. R. Martin needs to speed things up a little bit. But other than that, I absolutely love this installment. I am so glad that we are back with some of my favorite characters, Jon Snow and Tyrion Lannister. I love these two men. They are fantastic, and of course, the character work of George R. R. Martin, impeccable. It has always been. I just absolutely love these characters, and I can understand why this book is so popular, and I'm so glad that I understand the hype, because the next book that I'm going to be talking about, I don't really understand the hype. But continuing with A Dance with Dragons, it was just, it was almost perfect, but I absolutely love this. I love where the story is going. I love where the characters are going. I love what is happening to the characters. I love how they are reacting. Specifically, one of them, Cersei Lannister, I am enjoying seeing her downfall. It is so much fun. But yes, this is a 4.5 star. And please read A Song of Ice and Fire. I know you've watched the show. It is fine. I promise you the books are so much better and have so many more details that you cannot miss out on. And now another book that I have started in this month of November is The Strength of the Few by James Illington, but I am only 43% through, and I really tried, okay? I really tried, but I do have to record this now on Thursday, otherwise I'm not going to have the time to do it. So I am recording this on, I think it's the 27th of November, so maybe until, the end of November, I might read The Strength of the Few, but if I'm being honest with myself, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think I'm going to finish this, because it is a very chunky book. But I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of an overview, because I am also filming a reading vlog for this specific book. And all I have to say is I was enjoying it until the 30% mark, 30, 35. And then after that, it just derailed. It's just derailing because I genuinely thought that, my biggest problem with The Will of the Many was how Viz was the Gary Stu. He's just good at everything. He knows everything. He's always managing to find some way to get himself out of certain situations without anything happening to him. And I thought, with the beginning of The Strength of the Few, I was like, oh my God, like Viz is in, very different circumstances. Let's just say it like that, because I really don't want to spoil this. And it's so hard to talk about this second book without spoiling anything from The Will of the Many. But, we have two plot lines where this character, Viz, he is just in a very, he's in an unknown situation. Let's just say it like that. So he doesn't really know anything. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't understand anything. And I thought, okay, here we go. He's going to have a lot of difficulty navigating through these plot lines, through this narrative, because of all of these things. He did in the beginning, but tell me why he's back to what it was. Like, he's straight back to what it was, and I'm so disappointed, but I'm not going to talk too much about this. I'm just going to end it here. So this is literally what I read in the month of November. And now going to my December TBR, which I also am not going to elongate myself, because these books, I've talked about them in the end of the year TBR. So the first one is Notes from the Underground by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I am so excited to start this book. And honestly, once I finish The Strength of a Few, I am diving right into this book because it is a short story. So I think it has like probably 150 pages by, my post-its. I don't know if you can see. I hope you can. So I don't know why it seems like 150 pages. So I think it's going to be fun, and I'm very, very excited because, as I've mentioned before, I love Fyodor Dostoevsky's writing. I just think he understands the human soul like no other. I am very, very excited to read this book because I heard that it's depressive. And honestly, I don't think there's any Russian author that is not depressed. So I just know I'm going to love this because a depressed man complaining and talking about his feelings and life, and now he wants to kill himself. Thank you. That is what I need. And that is what we all need from time to time. So I'm very, very excited to dive into this book. And I'm also very excited to dive into one of my most anticipated reads of 2026. And she is finally here, people. Empire of the Dawn by Kristoff. Look at this. Just look at this cover. It is stunning. It is so beautiful. It's heavy though. It's very, very heavy. But I am very excited to dive into this book. I'm also a little apprehensive because, like I mentioned before as well, Empire of the Damned, it was a little bit of a disappointment to me. I am not going to lie. I was expecting so much more from that second book, but I think most of it, didn't really move the plot forward. And I did like how we explored the characters a little bit more, and I think that was needed for me to build a connection or a better connection with these characters. But I also wanted the plot to move forward, and that didn't really happen. But the last 100 pages of that second book, amazing, 5 stars. And honestly, I really want to dive into this final book because I need to understand and I need to know, how is this story going to end? How are they going to defeat this pitch dark night? How are they going to lift the curse from this world? And I just hope that this book is much better than the second one. I really, really do. I've heard only great things about this last installment. I've been seeing people reading it and saying that they have cried, they have shed tears, they have been left traumatized. So I am expecting great things. And I do want to be emotionally wrecked, because that is just such a good sign. At least for me, whenever I read a book and I'm emotionally wrecked, I just know it's going to stay with me forever. So I really hope that this third installment does that to me because I need this trilogy to redeem itself. And finally, we have my little treasure, which is Midnight Never Come by, I never know her name, Mary Brennan. There we go. This one is quite an old book, and I say old, with very, very big quotes because it is from 2008. And I'm just excited to read this because look at the cover. It's just stunning. It's amazing. It has very gothic vibes. And we are also following dark fae. Fae that are going to try and manipulate you. They're going to lie to you. They are going to try, and wrestle power from you. We have a lot of politics here with the humans and the fae. And I'm just very, very excited. Of course, we do have a little bit of a romance, which I'm not very stoked for because I'm not really into romance. I don't care about characters falling in love and the relationship blooming. I just don't really care about that part. But it's not really the focus of the book, or at least, from the synopsis, it doesn't seem like it's going to be the focus of this book. So I am fine with it. I do like romance. When it's just the center of the plot and when the romance is the main thing of the book, that is what I don't really like. So romanticities usually aren't for me because I just really don't care about the romance. I'm like, okay, but what's happening behind this? Like I want to go to the plot. I want to go to the politics. Take me there, please. So I think this is going to be a good balance between both things. But actually, I haven't read a single review of this book and I haven't heard anyone talk about this book. So I am actually very, very curious because if this ends up being a 5-star, because it was €5, that's already stunning. It's a little treasure of mine. It's also going to be amazing because I found it. It's kind of like that feeling of I found it, I read it first, and I told everyone that this was amazing, so now everyone is reading it. I just really want to have that feeling because I literally haven't seen a single soul talk about this book, and I really do need more people to talk about this because how am I supposed to know if this is good or not? You know what I mean? So if you have read this book, please let me know down in the comments below because I do want to hear some opinions and reviews before I dive into this book. And that is all for this video, guys. Please let me know what you read in this month of November. Was there any favorite book that you read this month? Is any of the books, did any of them become a favorite of the year? Was it a good month, a bad month? And what are you planning to read on the last month of 2026? What are the last books you're trying to squeeze in before 2026 arrives? And please don't forget to subscribe and like this video because it helps my channel out a lot and it gives me a lot of motivation and validation to continue filming these videos for you guys. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!